Okay, Monday, September 9th, 2024. Just getting back from the gym. So, yeah, I don't know. It's been a while since the last update. So I think the biggest thing that's happened since then, I mean, we had an airstrike on Lviv. And, yeah, it was close. It was actually, I wouldn't say it was like right next door to us, but it was in an area I'm quite familiar with and have been around before. And I mean, we felt the explosions, you know. I mean, it sounded like a thunderstorm, like a very close by thunderstorm, and it shook I wouldn't say it shook the apartments, but it made some vibrations, and it set off, it was enough to set off the car alarms. So we had all these car alarms going off at 4 or 5 in the morning. I know it was 5 or 6, I can't remember exactly. It was close to any time we get up anyway. The baby always gets up around 5:30 for like an hour and then goes back to sleep. You know, we have to do like, you know, diaper change and feed her a little bit and all this stuff, and then she usually sleeps then for another hour or two, and then she's awake and like really active. So it was like right about that time, you know. And yeah, it was quite a tragic day. I mean, but I don't know, it's like people here are quite resilient. I mean, people went to work, life went on. I mean, this is more of a fact of life in Kiev than it is in Lviv, for sure. You know, and definitely closer to the eastern side of Ukraine. But I think, you know, I don't know what the point of this attack was, really attacking random civilian targets with hypersonic missiles. You know, maybe they're saying they have a lot of these and they can just throw them wherever, but I understand they don't have such a big supply of these. So it's just no rhyme or reason, you know. And you know, it's just like, where are the Western allies? I mean, it's not a big ask to close the skies. They think that'll escalate things into World War III if they fly a few jets here in Ukraine and shoot down rockets or set up more missile defense, like the good ones. You know, using I think we have some Patriot, but they're like the older models, and I think we have some of this NASAMs, the Norwegian ones, but there's not enough of those. So if we had like, you know, Rheinmetall has these guns with smart ammunition that know exactly when to detonate and make a flak cloud in the sky, like a cloud of tungsten shrapnel that the drones or the missiles would run into, and then they obviously explode in the air away from the target. I mean, there's still the danger of debris coming down, but if they set these things up right, that would happen over the countryside. You know, I mean, there's still people in the countryside, but the risks would be a lot less. You're more likely to hit a field than an apartment block. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I've been saying all along, like, one of the bigger problems, you know, than the Russians, or one of the big problems, is the Allies' commitment. It's wavering. It's not this unwavering commitment. It wavers. It goes up and down. It depends on the politics, you know, in the country. Like now Germany's got an AfD problem, you know, and, you know, and like I said, with Trump and Harris, I don't think there's any. Trump is more clear, I would say, than what Harris's plans are, because I'm not in favor of keeping the war going at this way, you know, in this current setup. It can't go for another 10 years like this, as low intensity as the West would like to say it, keeping it at a low intensity level, not to escalate. You know, either you got to go all the way and have it like, don't tie Ukraine's hands behind their back and give them everything they need, or you're going to have to negotiate something. Because going 10 years, like I've said in my other videos, that favors Russia. Actually, it doesn't favor the West, you know. So, yeah, you can't just give Ukraine like just barely enough. You know, it's not a business, you know, where you do things barely enough to, like an agile, you know, you just barely enough and get it out to the market and get feedback, and then keep improving. War is like you do overwhelming force, and you know, you have to win decisively early, So, the Russians keep encroaching and keep taking territory little by little because the weapons fluctuate, and then the morale, people, on the front lines, don't feel fully supported. It's like, it's not a good situation, so we will have to see what happens. That's what we're doing. I mean, we're discussing moving again. We were thinking about moving, then we decided to stay. But I don't know, I think by the end of the year, the baby will be old enough. This other issue is like our baby is not one of these traveling babies. We just tried to take her to a Emily resort yesterday, and she wasn't liking the car ride. She wasn't liking the stroller. She only likes like short trips nearby. So that's a big part of our calculus. We don't want her to be traumatized, and unless we absolutely have to move for life and death, and we put up with one hard day, I guess she could recover from that if we had to. And then we have the whole thing about moving. I guess that's even more stress, getting an apartment and getting it set up. It's no problem when you're single or even a couple to do that, but when you have a baby, it's like you have to create an environment where they don't feel stressed, so they can sleep properly and eat properly. You don't want to disrupt the sleeping and eating rhythms, so that they can their brains and everything grow properly. Well, that was, so I don't know. We have to see where this war is going. Like I said, it's like, that's the big thing, is uncertainty. There's no clear roads here. What things will look like even months out now. So what else? I went and met with a friend of mine who has the Indian restaurant, the one in the center. He was explaining to me like how hard it is. So I think that idea has been ruled out. The happiest days in a restaurant owner's life is the day they open the restaurant, and then the day they shut it down or close it or sell it. The day they get in business and the day they get out of the business. So so I think that idea has been ruled out. I think we'll stick to working and buying Nvidia shares. Now Nvidia, I'll comment on this a little bit, has been down a lot, from its highs. I've been talking about this stock for a very long time, so if you've been following me and been in it, and like I said, this is not investment advice, you'd still be way up. But it's hard for me to see the future with this now, because yes, there's this huge AI market, and the company's valuations are good, but it's already a $3.5 trillion company. Where's more of the money going to come into the stock? I mean, portfolio managers, pension funds can't ape into just one single company. So even though it's a good quality company, it may not get many more inflows so rapidly. I mean, I think people will still invest into it. But they're talking about like $10 trillion market cap in 10 years. I think it could grow 40%. I think it could go from like 3 trillion to 5 trillion, just mainly with inflation. But my view now, it's like just a hold. If you've had it for a while, just hold on to it. And I'm still looking for something else that's good. I mean, like, I was in this CrowdStrike for a while. Maybe it's time to get back into it. They've taken quite a bit of a beating. But like I said, computer security is something that fluctuates. A new threat can come out and they're not ready for it, or a new company can come up out of a college dorm room that has a better mousetrap. I mean, literally, that's what computer security is. It's a digital mousetraps. So literally, someone could come up with a better mousetrap. So there's a lot of threats to that. So I'm looking at some old-fashioned businesses like pharmaceuticals. So I've been in Eli Lilly for a little bit. I wish I'd have gotten into that earlier. The obesity medications, that's a thing. That's a thing. People don't want to work out and eat right. They don't want to live close to the office where they can walk. They put the almighty job first, and then they put their big houses and big cars, have to make those payments, and then the whole life revolves around work instead of around health, around having just a good quality of life. You know, so I guess that's how people think, and you know, there's money to be made. You know, so yeah, Lilly is probably my second favorite after the Nvidia. You know, and maybe now it's even, I mean, that valuation has also climbed. You know, it's not a secret anymore. This is the problem with the stocks. You know, nothing is ever a secret. You know, everything gets out on YouTube or gets in the newsletters right away when it's discovered, and then everyone apes into it. You know, and so you just have to look for the dips. You know, right now the markets are in a pullback phase and everything. Now it's a good time to start putting money in. And like I said, it's not investment advice. This is just my opinion. But yeah, that's where I'm at. You know, and I'm still wondering about this Palantir. You know, what the hell is Palantir? Everyone's talking about it. They got in the S&P 500. You know, it just, but you know, when you look at the statistics, it's very overvalued, in my opinion. But they say it's got like a future like Nvidia, so have to read about that one more. Yeah, we'll have to see about that. And then I'm always holding some Amazon. You know, Amazon is just, it's retail, it's IT, it's just so many things. They might even get into energy. You know, it's just, it's an Amazon. It's just big, you know, and it's diverse. You know, it's like a modern day Mitsubishi, you know, or General Electric or something. You know, General Electric used to be diversified into many things. I mean, Amazon could even become a bank if they wanted to. So, I mean, it's an interesting company. And what else? Elections. We have debates tomorrow, Harris and Trump. Now, there was this one election historian. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he has a methodology about these 13 keys. And, you know, he has Harris winning. And he's been right like 9 out of 10 of the last elections. You know, and his methodology doesn't even consider debates. It considers more like, okay, incumbency, you know, scandals, you know, charisma, you know, these factors. I mean, they're relatively subjective, but even this analysis, it's quite close. And, you know, the polling right now and the sports betting, it's basically 50-50. I think Trump this week is slightly ahead. It changes every week, depending on who puts their foot in the mouth the most, or who doesn't say anything. Like Trump says too much and Harris doesn't talk at all. You know, she doesn't really give good press conferences. Like she had to have the vice president with her, her vice presidential candidate, Waltz. That never has been done before. Usually presidential candidate interviews one-on-one. And I saw the interview. She was given all softball questions from CNN. So, I don't know, that probably didn't bode well. But then, you know, J.D. Vance is like telling people for daycare solution, use the grandparents. You know, so, I mean, it's really a toss-up. But I tell people, for Trump to win, he has to be +5 in the polls. You know, that's my view. You know, the mail-in ballots and you know, the irregularities around mail-in ballots. Like there was a court case in Pennsylvania allowing people to, if their mail-in ballots weren't counted, that they could still vote even after the fact, I think. You know, it's like, really makes the absentee mail-in system very loosey-goosey, as one would say. You can see the neighbors' chickens here. This is what I love about Ukraine. You know, chicken farm, they're right in the middle of town. Right in, right in your own yard, you can raise your own chickens. Yeah, he's got little baby chickens here, I think, or ducks. I think they're those. I don't know. There's like these weird ducks in Ukraine that people grow and eat. They're, you know, so. And see, he opened a hamburger stand. You know, so it's hard to see with the sun. But you can go in there and, you know, you know, he's got, like I said, you can see in his backyard. This is like West Virginia. Marketing your hamburger stand. So yeah, you can buy a hamburger right here in Lviv, like right in the morning. So this is what I love about Ukraine. You know, it's you know, it's not, it hasn't been completely Europeanized yet. You know, it's coming though. I think these days are going to be gone pretty soon. You know, once they get to a new equilibrium here, and they'll have to get more to European standard. But maybe you can get away with these backyard barbecues for a while, because they'll have to start at the top with the institutions, get all that solid, then eventually there'll be more day-to-day regulations. I mean, so you have this hamburger stand here, and then, you know, McDonald's is, you know, over here behind this building. You know, we have the Golden Arches. So you got choice here. You got choice in your burgers here for sure. So yeah, the debate on Tuesday night, according to this election historian, won't really have much of an effect, but I think it will. I think it's going to it'll have more of an effect on Democrats than Republicans. I mean, the big issue with Democrats is getting them motivated to show up, right? To get them to, you know, everything for Democrats actually have more support, you know, raw support. You know, if you go door to door in America and ask, you know, you'll find that more people support Democrats on the raw numbers. But voter turnout, there are much more harder voters to get to turn up on election day. You know, there are a lot of them are like hippie students, and you know, they're people living in the inner city. You know, they got to go to a job and all this stuff, and you know, it's not the first thing on their mind is politics. You know, politics is not the number one thing in their mind. You know, so yeah, it's a matter of like, can Kamala or can her Democrat machine inspire the people to turn up? But you know, then again, the mail-in ballots, you know, mitigate the laziness, right? I mean, it used to be on election day you had to actually physically get yourself to the poll and vote, but now they have this mail-in system, so that can, yeah. So that's why that's why I say I think this election is slightly in Harris's favor still, despite what the news is saying about things slightly tilting to Trump, you know, and all the YouTubers. You know, I don't think they're accounting for the effect of mail-in ballots. You know, so yeah, we'll see. We will see. You know, so yeah, almost home. Yeah. So yeah, we just have to, yeah, now I guess, yeah, I got a few more minutes left. So yeah, we're still deciding where to move to, right? So I mean, I'm still down to Denmark, Netherlands, Delaware, or Pennsylvania. I don't think I'm going to go on any adventures in the US and go to something I don't know. Like, you know, North Carolina on paper looks good. You know, like Raleigh-Durham, you know, looks really good on paper. And then Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, even AI recommends that, you know, walkable city, affordable housing. But, you know, I have my mom in Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach is kind of like, you know, Delaware is where I was working for a while at BlackRock, you know, in the Delaware office. And then Virginia Beach is where I lived during the Navy, and my mom is living there. You know, so it's like those two places are like 4 or 5 hours driving, or 6, I think more like 6. You know, there's a lot of traffic. You know, there's a lot, I think if you count traffic, it depends on the day. So they're like 4 to 6 hours apart by car. You know, it's an easy bus ride. You know, there's like a bus for like $20, $30 that goes between Wilmington, Delaware, and Virginia Beach. You know, it's, yeah, so that might be a good place to start in the US. And then as far as like Europe goes, Eindhoven, Netherlands, Kellenberg or Aarhus, Denmark, maybe Copenhagen if we can find a good deal on a place to live. I mean, Copenhagen is full of jobs, but I want to live in a place that's more open. You know, I notice my daughter likes to crawl and run around. Like I said, she doesn't like the stroller and the car seats. She might be like a country girl, you know, more than a city girl. You know, and so we need big open spaces for her and woods and all this kind of places to go hiking and running around and, you know, develop those motor skills. Fresh air, you know, you can't knock that. Having clean air and water, that's a big one. So yeah, it'll take time to figure that out. It's like there's a lot of pros and cons either way. It's like every day it goes back and forth. You know, like living in Europe versus living in America. And a lot of this is going to depend on the election. I mean, I would say that, I mean, I'll just be straight up. I think Harris's plans for the middle class are much more concrete and much better described than what Trump is talking about. you know, jabs, jabs, jabs. But then, you know, he gets elected and then he goes on Twitter and starts going on a sidetrack and, you know, gets derailed and nothing really gets done. You know, everything just keeps sucking, you know. I mean, Biden gave us a really good stock market, you know. So, I mean, yeah, I'm very neutral on this. Like I said, I'm still undecided now, leaning a little bit Harris, you know, on the economic stuff. But Trump has, you know, got this border thing a little bit more well defined. You know, I'm not a fan of the woke, but that's not going to be the deciding factor for me. I mean, in reality, for my day-to-day life, it doesn't really affect me much. I don't like it. You know, I really find it disturbing, but it seems like it's more hype in the media than reality in day-to-day life. So we will see. Like I said, this is the undecided voter's mindset. You know, I mean, I need to see this debate, I guess, and see some substance, and need to see more substance from the Republicans on health care. We're not going to, I don't think America can be this kind of country it is now forever, you know, where, you know, like you have to have a job to have health care. This is crap, you know, and let people go bankrupt over health issues. This is just, you know, when you're having all these billionaires, you know, you're having people worth, like 8 people in America now are worth over $100 billion. You know, that's, you know, this just can't continue anymore. You know, as good as Trump sounds sometimes, and, you know, I get a bit of euphoria off that, you know, this like 1980s pro-American rhetoric. I mean, it's really nothing behind it sometimes, but, you know, Harris she's a goofball, you know. It's like, you know, but then, you know, what you have to be rest assured about Harris is she's not really going to run anything. She's just a sock puppet. You know, there's this whole, like, people behind the curtain. It was pretty obvious, the fact that she was picked, you know, and the fact that she's changing her platform to be more, you know, more central, more moderate. You know, that there's like a big platform shift. Now they're talking about a wall and immigration policy, and she's copying Trump. Just shows you that she's not really in charge. So that assures me a lot that she's not really going to be the one making the decisions. You know, that kind of makes me more in favor of her in some ways. But anyway, that's all I got. Time to go home. We'll see you. Bye-bye.